Title: The Enduring Legacy of Love, a Heartwarming Tale. In the quiet village of Greenhill, tucked away from the hustle of city life, lived an elderly man named Henry. Having endured both joys and heartbreaks, Henry had lived a life filled with purpose, resilience, and love. His most profound experience, however, came later in life when he became the sole guardian of his granddaughter, Emily. After losing his only son and daughter-in-law in a tragic accident, Henry dedicated his life to raising her. Emily wasn't just his granddaughter, she was his reason for living, his motivation to keep going. Together, they created a bond that not only filled their lives with love, but also became a lasting legacy, a true testament to what it means to be family. Henry's life was modest but rich in wisdom. He had a small, cozy home surrounded by a garden he tended with dedication. Each morning, he would rise early to care for his plants, teaching Emily about the importance of patience and nurturing. With every weed he pulled and every seed he planted, Henry imparted life lessons to his granddaughter, hoping to prepare her for a future he knew might be challenging. These lessons weren't just about gardening, but also about resilience and faith. Emily would join him in the garden, her small hands eagerly helping with tasks as she listened to his stories. Henry's stories were more than just entertainment. They were life lessons disguised in tales of hope and perseverance. He would talk about his own parents, who had raised him to value hard work, honesty, and compassion. He recounted tales of his youth, the dreams he had once harbored, and the sacrifices he had made along the way. Through his words, Emily learned to cherish the simplicity of life and to find joy in small acts of kindness. As she grew older, Emily became deeply aware of the sacrifices her grandfather had made for her. Henry had given up his retirement savings, his time, and most of his energy to provide her with a stable and loving environment. He never once complained, nor did he ever let her see the worry in his eyes. But as she matured, she began to understand the weight he carried and the love that fueled his sacrifices. Inspired by his example, Emily vowed to study hard, make him proud, and honor the life lessons he had so selflessly shared. One winter, however, Henry's health took a turn. His strong frame began to weaken, and his energy waned. It started with small things. He was slower to rise in the morning, his hands trembled when he held his garden tools, and his laughter, though still warm, came with a touch of fatigue. Emily, though still young, noticed these changes and began to worry. She had always seen her grandfather as a pillar of strength, and the thought of him growing weaker was difficult to bear. Despite his illness, Henry remained positive, never allowing Emily to see his pain or fear. He continued to nurture her dreams, encouraging her to aim high, to explore the world, and to believe in herself. Life, he would tell her, is full of seasons. Sometimes we face winters that seem endless, but spring always follows. Remember that, Emily. Whatever happens, always look for the spring. As Henry's condition worsened, Emily took on more responsibilities around the house. She became his caregiver, ensuring he took his medication and helping him with daily chores. Her compassion and strength amazed him, and he often found himself watching her with pride, marveling at the young woman she was becoming. In Emily, he saw the reflection of his own resilience, a continuity of the values he had tried so hard to instill in her. One chilly evening, as they sat together by the fire, Henry took Emily's hand in his and said, "Emily, you are my greatest joy, my legacy. I may not be here forever, but the love we've shared and the lessons you've learned, those will stay with you. Remember, love is like the roots of a tree. Even if you can't see it, it gives you strength." Emily felt a lump in her throat as she listened, sensing the gravity of his words. Not long after that night, Emily received an acceptance letter from a prestigious university in the city. The scholarship she had worked so hard for had come through, and her dream of furthering her education was now within reach. But as she looked at the letter, excitement mixed with sadness. Going away to school would mean leaving her grandfather behind, and she couldn't imagine a life without his steady presence by her side. When she shared the news with Henry, he was overjoyed, his eyes sparkling with pride. "This is everything I hoped for you, Emily," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "You've worked so hard, and you deserve this chance. Go out into the world and make it a better place. I'll be here, cheering you on, just as I always have." The night before her departure, they sat on the porch, wrapped in blankets as they watched the stars. Henry shared one last story with her, a tale of his own youth, his dreams of traveling the world, and the love he had for her grandmother. Emily listened intently, feeling the weight of his words settle in her heart. The next morning, as she boarded the bus, Emily looked back to see her grandfather waving, his figure silhouetted against the rising sun. Her heart ached, but she knew that his love would be with her, no matter where life took her. In the city, Emily threw herself into her studies, carrying with her the strength and resilience Henry had instilled. She often wrote him letters, sharing her achievements and the challenges she faced. She would tell him about her classes, the friends she had made, and the new experiences that filled her days. Though Henry never wrote back, he treasured each letter, reading them under the soft glow of his bedside lamp. As the years passed, Henry's health declined further. His once strong frame grew frail, and his days became quieter. Yet he found solace in Emily's letters, knowing that she was living the life he had always dreamed for her. In those quiet moments, he would often close his eyes and imagine her success, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. Emily, now on the brink of graduation, had managed to keep her plans a secret. She intended to surprise Henry by arriving unannounced, diploma in hand, to show him that his sacrifices and love had not been in vain. She longed to see the pride in his eyes as she stood before him, ready to step into the world he had prepared her for. When she finally arrived, however, Emily was met with an unexpected silence. The house was empty, and a sense of foreboding settled over her. She found him in his favorite chair on the porch, his eyes closed and a peaceful expression on his face. She knew in that moment that he had passed away, quietly, as if waiting for her return. Kneeling beside him, Emily was overcome with grief, but also with gratitude. She felt a profound connection to her grandfather, knowing that his love would forever be a part of her. As she whispered a final goodbye, she promised to live a life that honored his memory, carrying his lessons forward. In the days that followed, Emily organized a small memorial for her grandfather. She spoke about his life, his strength, and the enduring love he had shown her. Friends and neighbors gathered to share their own memories of Henry, each story painting a picture of a man who had lived with kindness, humility, and unwavering dedication to those he loved. After the memorial, Emily returned to the house, now filled with memories of their time together. She continued to tend to the garden he had cherished, finding comfort in the familiar rhythm of planting and nurturing. In her heart, she knew that Henry's love was like the roots of the trees he had planted, strong, unseen, but always present. Emily pursued a career in social work, inspired by her grandfather's example of compassion and resilience. She found herself sharing his stories with others, drawing from his wisdom to offer comfort and guidance to those in need. Each time she helped someone, she felt a sense of connection to Henry, as if he were by her side, guiding her through life. Every year, on the anniversary of his passing, Emily would return to the village. She would sit on the porch, wrapped in one of his old blankets, and write him a letter, just as she had done in her university days. She told him about her life, her dreams, and the ways she was trying to honor his legacy. In these quiet moments, she felt his presence, a gentle reminder of the love that had shaped her life. Henry's legacy was not one of wealth or grand achievements, but of love, resilience, and the simple wisdom he had shared. His impact on Emily's life was profound, shaping her into a compassionate, strong individual who carried his values forward. In every act of kindness, every life she touched, his spirit lived on. If this story touched your heart, remember that love endures through the lives we touch and the lessons we pass on. For more inspirational life stories, emotional tales, and heartwarming stories like this, make sure to subscribe to Life Stories 365. Keep watching for more touching life stories and real elderly stories that celebrate the beauty and resilience of the human spirit.